You recognize Kasia. Her and I have been on the Maryland Dennis Show for years together, and recently you bought a house and you completely gutted it and renovated it, and you got my attention through this thing because you've done a great job with it. And we're in the kitchen, and I wanted to walk through and talk about some of the things you did with regards to the kitchen design and just the materials you chose to use in here. So a lot of these videos are very superficial, and I know it looks beautiful and that's great, but I wanted to talk about just the thought process in laying the kitchen out. It's a small space, and that's okay. You can still make an amazing kitchen in a small space if you really think through some of the rules.
Absolutely.
Right?
Space planning is key.
Right.
That's
So
for sure.
what was the challenge? Like right off the bat, I think you had some closed-in space.
Correct, yes. So when we bought this house, the kitchen was original to the house. So that's going on 60 years. So
And it was here.
And it was here. The
Okay.
footprint did not change. The actual width and the length did not change. What we did change was we ended up ripping everything out. We raised the ceilings. So instantly, by
hold on.
raising...
Stop right there. How did you get height? Where did you go? So actually this height of this ceiling, is it higher than the rest of the house?
It is, yeah.
So you went into the roof.
Correct. We went right into the roof, and you can see that we're sloped on one end because that's how the roof line goes. So unfortunately, we weren't able to raise the entire ceiling, but we still ended up getting the height in the main area where I wanted it. And that instantly changes the entire...
Can I say, brilliant.
We added the lights. Obviously, ample lighting makes a difference. And then with adding the height, that way I was able to actually get cabinets that go all the way up to the ceiling, which makes a huge difference.
Huge.
So previously they had cabinets that I believe were just shy of 30. So everything looked a little stumpy, it looked a little bit short. There was a bulkhead above it that was empty. There was no HVAC running through there, so it was really unnecessary to have. But by eliminating all of that, we were able to raise everything up.
So that's the other problem. Most people don't realize you can take that bulkhead out. So that you've done all those things, and then you started to lay it out. Or actually this wall, let's talk about this wall, because this was closed off, wasn't it?
It was not actually, it was open, so
Was
the
it?
opening was here.
Okay.
What I actually ended up doing was, there was a lot of openings in the kitchen, but I ended up closing all of them off, and that allowed me to have a lot more cabinetry space, and it allowed me to put in bigger appliances that I wanted to inject in here. So this window here was already here, but this opening was completely open. So that kind of posed a problem for me in terms of laying out the peninsula. I didn't want the peninsula to be backing onto the cottage room that we've got off of the kitchen. I wanted it to be closed off. I wanted this kitchen to be a kitchen.
That makes sense.
So we built this little half
With the
wall,
knee wall,
that ends up mimicking the opening that I've got above the sink here, trimmed it off nicely, and then this allowed me to run the peninsula and the seating straight through, and it blocks you off from the other room.
Right. So now you created a kitchen working space, and then the rest of the kitchen. So now it's about how do I portion it out so everybody doesn't cross paths, and your daughter's running in grabbing stuff out of the fridge, and you're cooking, and so the fridge is right in the center there, but kind of splitting those spaces.
Exactly. So what happened here was, where this fridge is currently right now, this was an opening into the hallway.
Right.
And the previous fridge was jam-packed into this tiny little corner here, and it had the cutest little drawer. It was about a 4-inch wide drawer. On the other side, where you just pulled it, and I think it was like a match drawer or something. I'm not sure what the function was, but it protruded out to here, and it didn't make sense to me at all.
Right.
Besides this opening, there was also a second and a third opening into the kitchen. So you're taking up so much valuable.
This was open to the rest of the house.
It was open to the rest of the house, but you're taking up so much valuable, for me, what I call this, cabinetry real estate.
Yeah.
This is real estate for your kitchen.
So that's
you know?
awesome. You moved the doorway over there, it gave you all this wall to capitalize on, dropped the fridge in the middle, split that up into this cooking zone and cleaning zone and maybe food prep zone here, doesn't matter, all this works. And then you've got that seating area, and you've got that pantry kind of pseudo display over there.
Right, and that pantry area is, honestly, when I saw this kitchen for the first time, we actually walked in through that pantry area and right away I said, if we get this house, I'm blocking this off, I'm building a massive closet on the other side that's going to be suitable for jackets and everything. A front, yes, exactly. and on this side, I'm going to do a feature wall.
That's
like a
awesome.
feature
That's a great
with,
vision.
you know,
That's great.
and it gives you so much
So
storage.
it's so hard when you walk into a house. A lot of people can't envision that,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's why it's important when I say to people, if you're going to buy a house, just have me come out and look at it, because
Right.
you can kind of see that and you have that vision, and,
Exactly.
and people wouldn't think that. So now I want to start talking about the cabinetry and how you went with this quarter sawn, beautiful honey color, and then a warm honey color,
Mm-hmm.
warm maple kind of tone, and then you injected some white, so you got that balance. And that's a tough thing to do, Kasia,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people, when they do that, they mess up, because once those components start to meet, you go, ooh, I didn't think about that.
Right.
Now it's meeting on the trim at the top, and it doesn't
Right.
look good. So I love the balance you created. You've got the base cabinets here. It meets a tower here, which that's a great divide right there. Those upper cabinets are white. That's the honey color. Your shelves tie into that. A little bit of detail on the cooktop hood fan. Then you've got the backs of these cabinets that
Right.
pick up on that color. And then when we're talking about that display there, you've got the base and then the inset there. So you've got this beautiful balance of this honey color, and then you injected a little bit of black
Yes.
and gold and stainless steel
And chrome.
and mixed up all your colors and your
Yeah.
metals, and I think that's what it's all about. And you've just, to me, this is honestly the perfect balance. You've done a fantastic job, because when you come in, there's not one thing that just jumps out at you and says, hey, look at me. Like, it's just
Right.
beautiful all the way through, and it's got this just this serene look to it. And I
Right.
love it.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
think this is the perfect ad to say hire a designer, right?
Yeah, right. You're absolutely right, because there's so much to think about. And now you've got a full size, the core range is massive, so that
Yeah,
really
so it's a
centers on this
36, so
wall.
I wanted to inject the 36 because previously they had the 30 in here, and I wanted to inject the 36. We do cook a lot, so appliances were key for me. Same thing with the fridges. I wanted to maximize my space on the fridge. Going counter depth, sometimes, you know what, you're not gonna have as much space inside, but
Yeah.
because these are column, I'm gaining that additional space through my height.
Right.
Because these are sitting at 89 inches right now.
Right.
So the top shelf sometimes for me is a little bit difficult to reach,
Step
but
step.
exactly, or my 6'1" husband.
Yeah, all in one time. So that's
Exactly.
awesome. And then these shelves, I want to get back to these, so I'm going to just hold off on that. But I want to talk about materials. So how do you find the lacquered cabinets versus the stained cabinets work for you? Are they giving you the same kind of performance?
Absolutely, 100% they are. And when I was planning this, when I was planning the kitchen, there were certain things that I knew this is what I don't want to do. I don't want an all-white kitchen. I don't want to introduce gloss anywhere in my kitchen because it's just not a look that I was going
Right.
for. So after eliminating that, I knew that I wanted to do two-tone. I knew that I wanted the bottoms to have a very nice casual wood tone feel to them. And I knew that I still wanted to incorporate white just to liven it up and freshen it up a little bit. So in terms of durability on both materials, both are absolutely amazing, like absolutely
So that's
amazing.
often a question people ask, you know, do I go lacquered, do I go stained? Stained tends to be a little more forgiving, easier to touch up if
Right,
you have little nicks
right.
and things, and lacquer obviously is not because it's such a pristine finish, but the durability aspect of it are probably similar.
Right,
So
they are. No,
that's
they
great.
definitely are.
So then that brings us to the countertop, which I know we helped you out with the countertop because you used Stone Lab to
Yes.
do the countertops, and there was a process in selecting the material that was best for you.
Right.
So you ended up going with a quartz product.
I did end up going with a quartz product, and that was one thing that I also knew. I didn't want to go with a natural stone because I wanted durability. We do cook a lot. I didn't want anything that would scratch, would stain, or that I would have to, you know, oftentimes treat or just be careful with using. So I knew I wanted to get into a man-made stone. My biggest worry was choosing a man-made stone that looked man-made and it looked fake.
Right.
And oftentimes you can find product out there on the market where the veining doesn't look realistic,
Yeah.
where it just doesn't have that natural organic feel. So for me, the biggest thing was finding a stone that had the performance, but it also had the organic feel. And I think this one totally does.
Yeah.
The veining on here, I'm absolutely in love with. I love that it's got the black and the brown and the taupe injected in it, and it
Right.
looks natural. The actual vein itself looks natural.
So this pattern is 22503 is the number from Stone Lab. It is beautiful, but there's so much that people don't know about quartz. There's a lot of products, just like any product, there's a lot of products. And the products that are down here have a lower percentage of quartz, they have more resins, more impurities and glass and things like that. And so the quality and the performance is not quite the same as the stuff up here. So you've got a great product, it looks fantastic, like you said, it looks authentic, it looks like a beautiful pattern that you would see in natural stone. And then going back to those shelves, I want to point out a couple of things. Those shelves, when people decide to do elements like those shelves, they all of a sudden pose a problem. And people don't realize until they get to the end, they go, oh my God, where do I cut off my backsplash?
Exactly.
And that's over here, and this is over there, and how do I get up there?
Exactly.
So you did this beautiful scallop that we had to cut on the CNC, and you did the pattern the way you wanted, and then it was translated to the CNC, and then they cut it the way you wanted.
Right, so we toyed around, like I toyed around with the idea, what am I going to do here? I knew right off the bat I wanted to continue the counter onto my backsplash. I wanted that seamless look. I really wanted to open up the kitchen and make it seem a bit wider. My whole thing was, I'm going to do the open shelves, so perhaps running the counter on the backsplash all the way up. However, I can see it in my head, and I knew that it was, number one, it would feel too modern for the look that I wanted. It would be too heavy, even though, you know, we've got floors that are reinforced and everything like that, it's still weight that's going on there, and it just wasn't the look that I wanted. I really wanted to inject that traditional aspect.
Yeah, but are you talking running it all the way up behind the shelves? And
all the way up, yes.
Hello, cha-ching. That's the other reason you wouldn't do that.
Yes. You didn't let me get to point number three. Point number three, I think it's not economical.
It would be expensive.
Like, it would just be so
expensive.
expensive.
Yeah.
And I think it would, honestly, I really think that it would just feel too cold. It would just be too stark in the space. I really, again, wanted to have that casual, warm feel.
Yeah.
So I actually, and I believe I posted this on my Instagram as I was drawing out the scallop, and you know, I played around with it. How much of a dip do I want? How much of a pinch and a point do I want? And I was beyond impressed when your guys came in and they took that and threw it right onto their computer, the exact edge, the exact line. And sometimes, you know, doing it the way that I did it, where I actually drew it on, that's what you have to do to be able to envision it. I know we can throw stuff onto, you know, rendering programs and stuff like that, but obviously it looks totally different when you're there drawing it out,
of course,
making it, you know.
And you know, the thing with Stone Lab is, we love working for designers, and it's their vision. It has nothing to do with me. Like, I just, as you know, it was all yours. Like, everything in here was all yours.
But you made it come to life.
It had nothing to do with me. So for me, and this is about full disclosure now, because when your cabinets came, we stood in this kitchen and we said, something doesn't look right.
Oh my God, I'm starting to sweat.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
And honestly, and this happens because in construction things go wrong, and this is what really separates the true stars from all the other people, is people that actually come together and say, yeah, something is wrong and let's fix it. So we put these countertops in, and Kasia and I and Judy stood here in this room, and you're like, something's not wrong. I don't think this is the one thing I picked.
Right.
And I've been there where I walked into the room and I say, this is not the color I picked for these walls. And the painter's like, oh no, it is. And I said, no, show me the can. And then I realized I did a color match. And all of a sudden it's not exact same, so no, we didn't use the paint that I said. This same scenario here, but a little bit different in that it just happened to be an imperfection in the dialogue. And you picked it up, and I came in, I didn't even imagine, and we're standing here looking at it. And anyways, long story short, it all came out, got remade with new slabs, and got put back in.
Exactly,
So,
no, it did.
Yeah, so we fixed it, and it looks fantastic, because this color now looks amazing.
It does, it's perfect. And honestly, when I came up to see you, I was a little bit worried with this one, to be honest with you, because I felt like maybe it should be brighter or whiter or grayer or something, and you're like, this is the one. And I'm so happy that I went with your suggestion in this too, because it absolutely is. I feel if it was whiter or brighter, again, it would just be too stark for the space. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
So I love I love the edge detail. I love the detail that you did around the sink. You've got this farmer's sink here, farmer style. It's the composite material. Is that working well for you? Because I think people always wonder, are these sinks as good as stainless steel? So what's the performance on that for you?
It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. I don't see any scratches on it. I love the fact that it has that apron for me, especially because I'm shorter and I do wash a lot of dishes. It's very comfortable. But the sill granite is fantastic product. There's no scratching. It can take a beating.
So this one's a Blanco, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So it picks up on that black hint that you have throughout, which I want to point out that you put a little black trim around this door, right? And I gotta tell you, I love that.
How gorgeous is that?
You're so good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That started from the arched cabinet,
No,
right?
you've got the perfect balance. You've got the nice soft radius in the corners. You've got this beautiful seam right here that is barely noticeable, and that's the other challenge, is putting the seam in the right place so that one, it's inconspicuous and it's structurally sound, and it leaves this massive slab clean, so you don't have a seam right in the middle of it.
Right.
So people make a lot of mistakes when it comes to countertops, and these are things in the industry that a lot of people don't think about and consumers don't know. So you've got it projecting outwards or cantilevers out a little bit, and then you've got the panel going all the way out, so you've got a seating area underneath, and that's perfect. And I notice you put your microwave drawer right here, so you've got all your cooking zone right around you. So when you're working, this is an efficient space for you, right?
Very much so. I'm not in anyone's way. I've got Izzy on the other side doing her homework or on the, on the laptop,
So
anything like that. So it's absolutely, and tons of counter space,
And lots of storage space. And I noticed you got a lot of drawers. So you've got drawers are a great use of space on lower cabinets, and I think people are catching on to that. You've done a fantastic job, and thanks for trusting us.
Thank you.
In helping you with your countertops. And I think because we love working with you, we want to help out your viewers. I know they've been following you with this renovation.
Yes.
So if anybody loves this countertop and wants something similar, as long as they're your viewers and they get in touch with Stone Lab and mention Kasia 22503, I think the number is, right?
Yes.
Kasia 22503, then they will get a 15% discount off their order. Thanks to you.
Order your countertop.
Yeah, so we're happy to help you. Let's do it. Make it look as beautiful as this. Great job.
Thanks. You so much. Thank you.